I'm a triathlete and I compete in a weight class which is an above average size woman, and they call it Athena. So I was kind of joking around calling myself Athena for a while. So then when I decided to start this retail management temp agency, I thought, well, you know, I'm already a goddess, so now I'm a retail goddess. I was hired out of college by Bradley's, believe it or not, to be a part of the first group in a sales manager training program, which basically meant between college and 2 years from college, I was going to be the second highest person in a store. I managed the women's accessories and jewelry department, and I just loved it. But after working so many hours at Christmas time, they burned me out. So I left retail then. A few years later, I went back to retail with a company called T. Dean. That was a large women's clothing store that was started by Trudy Sullivan, a former Filene's executive. And that was all designer clothes, high-end, private label. I managed the Westport, Connecticut store, and then I got promoted to the Stamford, Connecticut store. While I was working in Stamford, the Disney store posted a sign that they were looking for store managers. And since I've always loved Disney, I applied there and got hired. I spent several years in the Danbury store and in the Stamford store. That is where I got the majority of my customer service training. I was trained at Disneyland, I was trained at Disney World. We had meetings frequently, and it was always very customer service focused. All about exceeding customer expectations, not meeting, exceeding. When I was about 4 years in, I planned on working there my whole life and retiring from there at a ripe old age. Well, that didn't happen. So I left the Disney stores when I had decided to start a family, and I ended up working at Filene's department store in Trumbull, which is where I live, and spent a few years at Filene's managing the children's department, then got moved to intimate apparel and seasonal, which is coats and swimwear. That was right before I had my twins. So after I had the kids, I decided that retail was not necessarily where I wanted to be. The hours were too unpredictable, so I became an outside salesperson for L'Oreal. And I did represent L'Oreal hair and skincare in all of the large mass merchandisers in Connecticut, including Walmart, Kmart, Expect Discounts. At the time Genovese was around, they were one of my accounts. We would help with resets and CVS. So I had experience in pharmacy and the mass merchandisers during the time with L'Oreal. I was with L'Oreal for 5 years. And the difference between being in retail management and working for L'Oreal is that I could make my own hours. I could work the hours that they required whenever they fit into my parenting. So when the kids got a little bit older, I decided to go into business-to-business sales, where I spent 10 years selling in a variety of roles. And now that my kids are older, I decided it's time to go back to retail. And Retail Goddesses is the perfect way, because the way the economy is going, people are really going to need retail goddesses. They're not going to want to hire people full-time. And we can do whatever they need in however many hours they need us for. It's called the Beyond Mortal Audit, because we are goddesses. So my offer to them is to go into 4 of their stores that they choose and audit the stores on 13 different items, such as visual merchandising, customer service, fitting rooms, clearance, cleanliness, seasonal appeal. Except this I'm giving to them for free. And I'm allowing them to pick the stores, and within a 2-week window, I'll visit all the stores, and then the following week, I'll send them a full report of my results, along with my suggestions of how to improve business in those stores and any areas that I think I may be able to help them. Now, a few people have said to me, well, doesn't that make you a secret shopper? And the answer is only a portion of that will be secret shopping, because most secret shoppers are not former retail managers. I know what to look for in a store that a normal shopper would just glance over and not even notice. I think there are many people who are who have just one store, who have strengths in certain areas that are required in retail, and it's virtually impossible for everyone to have every strength you need to be a good retailer. For example, I mentioned that I was a triathlete. Well, the place where I bought my first bike is a small bike shop in Orange called Chapman's. And Chris Chapman happens to be a friend of mine. The man knows bikes. He could fix a bike in his sleep, but he's really not a visual merchandiser. So my offer to him is going to be a before and after offer. I'm going to photograph his store, and then he's going to give me a day or two, however long it takes, to completely rework it from a visual standpoint and take the after photos. And so basically I'm, giving his store a makeover. I think that, there are as many positives and negatives in the mom and pop arena as there are stores. And I think that what I'm going to be able to help them with will vary so greatly from store to store that when I do my prospecting and I'm there, I'll know within 30 seconds what they need me for.